Without further ado, I'd like to get the campers get ready and come on up. And we'll start the show with a little up-tempo, fun music. Thank you.
I'm actually the second son. Oh, okay. Sorry, Tom. Just listen up for me later. All right, Tom's on. Tom's all set. Sure. Here we go. Rockabye.
Rockabye.
Rockabye. Come on and rockabye, my Sarah Jane. Rockabye, my Sarah Jane. Oh, there's nothing to do but to sit down and sing and rockabye, my Sarah Jane.
I got a wife and 5 little children. Believe I'll take a trip on that Big Maximilian.
Oh, Sarah Jane.
A guy like me ain't got no home. I make my living on shoulder bone.
Oh, Sarah Jane.
Oh, Sarah Jane.
Oh, Sarah Jane. Come on and rock about my Sarah Jane. Rock about my Sarah Jane. Oh, there's nothing to do but to sit down and sing and rock about my Sarah Jane. There's another verse here. It's been 12 hours, they forgot.
Woke up this morning feeling mighty mean, thinking about my new girl in New Orleans.
Oh, Sarah Jane.
I wouldn't keep those boilers hot. I want to be in town by 6 o'clock.
Oh, Sarah Jane.
Oh, Sarah Jane.
Oh, Sarah Jane. Come on and rock about my Sarah Jane. Rock about my Sarah Jane. Oh, there's nothing to do but to sit down and sing and rock about my Sarah Jane.
Back is tired and my shoulders sore. Each bag is bigger than the one before.
Oh, Sarah Jane.
Watching my stomach and a clock in my head. Getting superstitious about my pork and bread.
Oh, Sarah Jane.
Oh, Sarah Jane.
Oh, Sarah Jane. Come on and rock about my Sarah Jane. Rock about my Sarah Jane. Oh, there's nothing to do but to sit down and sing and rock about my Sarah Jane. Oh, there's nothing to do but to sit down and sing and rock about my Sarah Jane. Yes, we last did that song at about 9:30 this morning. So, being the age we are, we can't all remember. That's how many hours? 10 hours ago? It's a little much, but. And if you like that one, if you like that sort of thing, you might like this.
Well, I got a mule and her name is Sal. 15
miles on the Erie Canal. She's a good old lady, good old gal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. Low bridge, everybody down. Low bridge, what we're coming to a town when you always know your neighbor and you always know your pal. If you ever navigate on the Erie Canal, if you ever navigate on the Erie Canal.
Hey, up there, mule, here comes a lock. We'll reach Rome about 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock's just an hour away, so make some tracks while we still got day. Well, it's
Low bridge, everybody down. Low bridge, what we're coming to a town where you always know your neighbor and you always know your pal. If you ever navigated on the Erie Canal, if you ever navigated on the Erie Canal.
Damn, that mule, he sure is lazy, trying to drive a body crazy. He looked at me the other day, he said,
I ain't going till I eat my hay. Yee-haw!
Low bridge, everybody down. Low bridge, what we're coming to a town where you always know your neighbor and you always know your pal. If you ever navigated on the Erie Canal, if you ever navigated on the Erie Canal.
That'll get the blood going. Thank you, campers. I also want to thank Pete Bentley and Tom Lamb and Galen Taylor for participating in that. You'll see them all during the night. Our first camper solo tonight is Terry Collins. Terry's a third-year camper. He's a retired government tax attorney. Says he's living peacefully with his wife, Victoria, in Oregon. I don't know of any attorney who lives peacefully, but I hope he can do it. Terry's first exposure to the trio was at the Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento in high school and early college. He says in his dorm at UC Davis, it cleaned out on weekends except for him when he was playing his old 33 LP record player and nothing but Kingston Trio albums, and particularly College Concert, which is a great album all of us enjoyed. His interest in the trio continues, and he saw the trio perform in November of 2013 in California. Additionally, he says, the songs of John Stewart, his early career, particularly spoke to me as I was leaving the South and the military to return to California. All these songs are in my heart, in my head, and in the shower. I don't know in what order, but it's touching. Retirement has given him the gift of time, like all of us, and in those moments he reads nonfiction. He says a bit of philosophy, physics, religion. I guess I missed on those books. But retirement has not given him the gift of energy. And one of his goals in retirement was to learn to play the guitar well. And until he committed to camp a couple of years ago, he said that was on the back burner for no good reason. Well, I think he's made a lot of progress in his guitar playing, and he certainly is a great performer. Would you please welcome Terry Collins?
Thank you. I can either sing or tell you tax stories. Please. Anyway, last year I got to sing Greenback Dollar, good philosophy, greenback dollar, don't care, spend it fast as I can. I follow that a lot. I like the idea. So I thought I'd step up this year. The song I've selected is New Frontier from the New Frontier album, and it obviously brings in at least one historical story about John Stewart, which I've confirmed from our historian and from that book, Greenback Dollar, also. And I don't know whether this is a funny story or not, but I just get the irony or the something out of it. I mean, here the album comes out. Stewart is friends with the Kennedy family. And so Stewart goes over to the White House to go into the Oval Office and meet John Kennedy. So he goes in there, he gives Kennedy a copy of the New Frontier album. They're talking about New Frontier. And New Frontier was the name of Kennedy's, whatever he was going to do, the upbeat, the Kennedy era, that spirit, okay? So they're talking about New Frontier. And, Kennedy's just had the Bay of Pigs finish up, and he's got Khrushchev on him, and he's got civil rights problems and nuclear missiles, and, he's got things on his mind. And then he says to Stewart, he says, hey, I understand Greenback Dollar, the song is really doing well. And Stewart goes, well, how did you know that? And he said, well, I heard it on the way to work. And I thought that was just a really interesting comment, that with all this stuff going through his brain, I heard it going to work, and Stewart picked right up on that. Anyway, this song is basically a knock it out. This is an anthem to freedom. It's an anthem of the United States. It's a wonderful song, and I thank everybody here for letting me sing it tonight. Thank you.
Some to the rivers and some to the sea, some to the soil that our fathers made free, then on to the stars and the heavens for to see. This is the new frontier. This is the new frontier.
There's the word go forth from this day on. A new generation has been born to the task to keep us free, and proud of the right of the home country.
This is the new frontier. This is the new frontier. Some to the rivers and some to the sea, some to the soil that our fathers made free, then on to the stars and the heavens for to see. This is the new frontier. This is the new frontier.
Let us begin, for it shall take long. Let every man sing out freedom songs, not for ourselves that we take this stand. Now it's the world and the freedom of man.
This is the new frontier. This is the new frontier.
The day will come, it's got to be, the day that we may never see, when man for a man and town for a town must bring the peace that shall resound.
This is the new frontier. This is the new frontier. Some to the rivers and some to the sea, some to the soil that our fathers made free, then on to the stars and the heavens for to see. This is a new frontier. This is the new frontier.
Yeah.
Guy walks into a bar. And he puts on his glasses. Oh, that's who it is. Albert Barker, second-time camper, and previous Co-Camper of the Year award winner. Got his degree from the University of California. Albert, University of Georgia wasn't good enough for you, or what? So, anyway, he is a squadron commander for the Arizona wing of the Civil Air Patrol. And recently, after 22 years being employed by Navtech as a database engineer, he's recently undergone a drastic career change from IT to the aviation industry, and he's now in training to be captain for Ameriflight, where he's going to fly cargo throughout the country. So that's definitely yeah. But he also is a pilot for Skydive Arizona, where he flies skydivers to altitude so they can jump out, hence skydive. And it says here, you jump out of the plane too if you knew Albert Barker was flying it. Well, he also, more seriously, he also serves in the U.S. Army Reserves. He's been on multiple vacation getaways, such beautiful destinations as the Tigris and Euphrates Riviera, and the snow-capped mountain highland resorts of Afghanistan. He's been a Kingston Trio fan since before he was born. Some parents play Mozart to their kids to get them, classical training. His dad played Kingston Trio music and other folk music, Kingston Trio Limelighters, so he's been a Kingston Trio fan since before he was born because he's been listening to that stuff. Albert and his gracious and lovely wife, Melinda, will be celebrating their 22nd wedding anniversary this weekend. They enjoy spending time with Albert's parents, who are also here tonight. You met Henry last night, and he'll be up again later tonight. And he would like to send his love and gratitude publicly to his mom and dad for doing all the right things in raising him. Aww. They kept him from growing up to become a recidivist. And he says it's likely, were it not for their love and guidance, he would be singing Tijuana Jail in the Tijuana Jail. Albert Barker.
Cast your minds back in time, if you will, to a better vantage time of your childhood. And if you will, just remember those who took us by the hands and taught us the family traditions. Those who maybe later on in life taught us history by the verbal traditions, especially by this great music provided by the Kingston Trio. A lot of those people may be who have gone before us, but a lot of those who are still here, we have a drink to the living and a toast to the dead, as the old Gordon Lightfoot song said. But let us celebrate those who are still with us while we yet may.
Cool. You comfortable with that?
Maybe right there is better. My grandfather, he's a kindly man. He lives on homestead land. And sometimes he'll sing the songs he wrote when he was still a young man. And he sings in the real old style. And he plays in the real old style. My aunties, they all love to dance, and the families love to sing. I sing with them when I get the chance, and they're filled with love for everything. And they dance in the real old style. And they sing in the real old style. But these folks, they are young no more, and soon they'll pass away. I will always think of them and the songs they used to play. And they play in the real old style. And they dance in the real old style. And they sang in the real old style.
That's something you're not going to hear anywhere. You know, that is a beautiful song. I was going to say, we have all these bios from the campers that we read from, and one thing that strikes me is that, and I don't know if this is a compliment so much of the Kingston Trio or the guys that, but I think it is part of what speaks to the Kingston Trio is these men and women are the campers. These people aren't schlubs. I mean, they've all done wonderful things in their lives, you know. I mean, a lot of accomplishments. Everybody's pretty much PhD on here. Pretty much. This next guy, and the other thing to explain is that we've been out here so many years. I was 53 when I first came out, and I'm 69. So it's a lot of years, but so many guys come year after year after year that and women. We've had a lot of great women up here as campers too, but we really, it's hard to explain, but it really is kind of a brother thing. It's like a fraternity, and so many of us visit each other from different parts of the country during the year, and it's been a tremendous thing, and it's all brought to us by the Kingston Trio, and the people that we just accomplished a lot of things, and now I'd like to talk about some of the things I've done. No. The next guy is one of those brothers, is Bob Burlinson, and he lives in New York City, if you want to call that living, and he's been married for 49 years, and it says here he's been a Kingston Trio fan since their conception. No, I'm sorry, their inception.
be almost impossible to be from the conception part, because it'd be back in the 30s. Bob has made a small fortune. Well, it's not even a small fortune. He's made a fortune with odor-eating socks. He either invented them or he manufactured them and just made a bundle. And now he blew off New York, he lives in San Mateo. And coming this fall, the socks were so successful, they're going to have odor-eating long underwear, which he has some of those out in the hall, along with the pot holder that he made at camp this morning out of guitar strings. But this guy is a great guy, like most of these guys, like all of these guys. Bob Burlinson.
We'll get you a prototype of the underwear, Thomas.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
This is the one time you can unscrew something.
Where's Marlene Brooks to set a height example for me here?
Oh, boy. Several months ago, I was trolling through YouTube and found a video that was entitled A Tribute to Nick Reynolds. And I started watching the music, and my wife, Marianne, walked in and said, "That's your camp song." So, based upon 50 years now of discipline, this is a song called Colors, written by an English folk singer named Donovan. Yellow is the color of my love in the morning when we rise. In the morning when we rise, that's the time, yeah, that's the time I love the bed. Blue is the color of the sky in the morning when we rise. In the morning when we rise, that's the time,
That's the time,
yeah, that's the time
that's the time.
I love the best. Mellow is a feeling that I get when I'm with her. When I'm with her. That's the time, yeah, that's the time I love the best. Freedom is a word I rarely use when I'm thinking, without thinking, about the time, yeah, about the time when I've been lost. Yellow is the color of my true love's hair in the morning when we rise. In the morning when we rise, that's the time, yeah, that's the time I love the best. That's the time, yeah, that's the time I love the best.
Beautiful. Our next camper is an 11th year camper, George Jensen. George lives in Texas and has been a trio fan since 1957, like some of us old people here. And he first saw the trio, he says, in Dallas at the Playboy Club. I'm not going to touch that one. His favorite song is Where Have All the Flowers Gone? And it's the favorite time of the year for him when he comes here, as he says, to see and share and build memories with all of you. George has been married to his beautiful wife, Linda, for 45 years. They have two wonderful children, Adam and Dana, and a cat named Scrimshaw. And whenever he is asked what his favorite movie is, it's The Scrimshaw Redemption. George is a real good friend of mine. He is one of the most modest and humble men I have ever met. A true gentleman to the core and to the word. Would you please welcome George Jensen.
Don't you remember, Senora, you had a love of your own. You had a dueña, Senora, you had a kind chaperone. Didn't she sometimes, Senora, grant you a moment alone? Once in a garden, Senora, didn't your love steal a kiss? Surely a moment, remember, stirs in a setting like this. Surely within such a garden, wisdom can smile upon bliss. The curfew, Senora, cruelly and strictly imposed. Soon Don Hernando will signal, bidding the gate to be closed. Who'd be the wiser, Senora, if for a moment you dozed? Don't you remember, Senora, when you had a love of your own? You had a dueña, Senora, you had a kind chaperone. I love her dearly, Senora, grant us a moment alone. I love her dearly, Senora, grant us a moment alone. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Our next contestant is Ed Callahan. campers, we ask them to send in their bios and stuff. So Ed sent in this, and there's like 3 sentences I can use because this is, it's a mixed audience. There's kids out there. Anyway, Ed is a 12-time camper. He first saw the Guard Trio in 1961 at the Forest Hills Music Festival, and then the Stewart Trio many times, also in the New York area, and then a couple of other versions of the trio. And he rediscovered Jon Stewart in 1971 and saw him a few times. One of the things, he talks a great deal about something that Tom Lamb mentioned earlier, is about the fun of returning to Fantasy Camp every year is to see renew the friendships that we've made over the years, him in particular, 12 years. And another thing he likes, also Tom mentioned, is that, some of the long-term campers see each other, at other places over the year. Not just at Fantasy Camp. There's been mini camps in Walnut Creek, California, Alpharetta, Georgia, and the Long Island, and New Jersey. So anyway, we're all over the place. We're all over the place. He has been married to the lovely Nancy for 46 years. And they have 3 great children, Eamon, Liam, and Megan, who are an unending source of fun times and happiness. And in June, their daughter Meg and her husband Sam presented Ed and Nancy with their 2nd grandchild, Donovan. Let me see, Eamon, Liam, Megan, Donovan. I sense a trend. Well, yeah. Donovan's brother is Jameson. So there you go. And Ed retired 10 years ago after a 40-year career doing marketing research, and the results of which is all that useless stuff you have around your house, in your basement, your attic, and garage. And he's probably responsible for a lot of the TV ads that you love to hate over the years. But those 40 years enabled Ed to let me just describe. This is what his life is now. Folk music, cooking, brewing beer with his son Liam, watching baseball, reading history, going to Broadway shows with his wife, and walking on the beach. That's why you work 40 years. He says, God bless Jon Stewart and for his Fantasy Camp idea, and Nick Reynolds, who was so vital to his success. Special thanks to Bob and Bobby Shane and the current trio, George, Bill, and Rick, for keeping the idea alive and for kicking up the fun factor way, way beyond expectations. Here to do his big hit, Haul-Away Joe, Ed Callahan.
I'm not going to touch it tonight, not going to touch it. I had a recent meeting with my doctor, and he said to me, Ed, you need help with your drinking. So I hired a barmaid. Doctor's orders can be, what would you do, right? Ready? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Running down a stormy sea and rolling through the thunder. Way, haul away, we'll haul away, Joe. It's every man aloft, my boys, or we'll be driven under. Way, haul away, we'll haul away, Joe. Way, haul away, we're bound for better weather. Way, haul away, we'll haul away, Joe. For 7 days and 7 nights, we've labored to exhaustion. Way, haul away, we'll But now the breezes from the east will come about for Baldwin. Way haul away, we'll haul away go. And it's way haul away, we're bound for better weather. Way haul away, we'll haul away Joe. East wind, bring us home. Our ragged heavens open up, we sign the jubilation. Way haul away, we'll haul away Joe. The setting sun's a beacon, boys, the sign of our salvation. Way haul away, we'll haul away Joe. And it's way haul away, we're bound for better weather. Way haul away, we'll haul away Joe. East wind, bring us home.
Like a man with semen in his blood.
Wait, what? Continuing on the theme of the brotherhood and a little bit of sisterhood that we've established over the years, the two guys back here, Pete Bentley lives in St. Augustine, and Art Fowler lives in, well, Connecticut and Tucson. But I've spent days in both of their houses. And, of course, this is the first time they're hearing about it. But I keep track. You know, if they're out of town, it's easy to get in. Yeah, nice digs. They both have nice pools. Last night I was talking about a particular situation where I had about it when I was getting a haircut, and I have another one that happened to me last fall. It's one of those decisions that you make at the last minute, like, and you're not so sure. You know, it's not really a good idea to go to a new place to get your haircut if you've been fairly satisfied with the one you've been going to. But I did it. And it was Lance's hair hut. And I thought, I'll take a chance with this new guy. Who knows, you know. And it was the same sort of pitch that they have in some of these places, the salons, where they're going to sculpt your hair. And they're not going to cut your hair or trim it or chop it or shave it. They're going to sculpt it. So, I sat in the lobby and wanted to know if I wanted anything to drink, and I didn't, but they had green tea, so I had green tea because I thought that would be kind of cool to be in a salon drinking green tea, even though I hate it. So a couple minutes, then they said, Lance is ready for you, and I came back. And he wasn't terribly talkative. It was really concentrating on my hair, looking at every angle and doing this, like the artists do. Sizing it all up, measuring it all out. And it took quite a while. It was a good 35 minutes when I was in the chair, but I had no idea what this was going to be like. But I thought, it's a little extra money. It should be a good haircut. But I didn't know. And then when he spun me around to look in the mirror, the only thing I could think of is, wow, it looked like a porpoise. It's just, I turned my head. I look like a porpoise. It's just, he's got the thing with the, and I could tell by his face that he could tell by my face that that I wasn't liking it. And he said, "Is there something particularly wrong, Mr. Lamb?" And I said, "I don't know, it looks a little short around the blowhole to me." Now we're talking about some great guys. George Jensen, fabulous guy. What's that other guy? Callahan, and here's another one. It's hard to qualify these guys, but they're all really nice guys. This is Bob Blackstead, soft-spoken guy, sweet voice, good player. He's from Wichita, Kansas, but that could happen to anybody. But now he lives in Bellingham, Washington, and he's currently a Bellinghamster. And you can get a haircut for that, too. He started playing on a Sears Silvertone, which we all did, but his wasn't as a guitar, it was a chainsaw. He's been married a long time, like all these other guys, which is another reason to like us, you know? We're folk singers, and we hang with the women for a long time. That too. But Bob's a great guy, just one of the sweet guys you'll meet here. And he's a good singer, great player, Bob Blackstead.
Okay. Last year after camp, I played this song for my wife, and it really touched me. And tonight I'd like to dedicate it to my lovely wife, Pat. It's a love song, but it's a different kind of love song. Dementia has impacted both of our lives. And it's doing it right now, as a matter of fact. My mother had it before she passed away, and my dad was diagnosed since the last camp. And my wife's mother has had dementia for quite a few years, but she's to the point now she has to come live with us, or at least in our area. So anyway. And we look at each other sometimes and we wonder which one's next. But anyway. Anyway, I just want to dedicate this to this is about a Dutchman and his lovely wife, Margaret. And I want to dedicate it to my lovely wife, my Margaret, Pat. So, Pat, this one's for you. Thank you very much. Dutchman's not the kind of man to keep his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. But that's a secret only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam is golden in the morning, Margaret brings him breakfast. She believes him. He thinks the tulips bloom beneath the snow. He's mad as he can be, but Margaret only sees that sometimes she sees her unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. his wooden shoes, his cap and coat are patched with love that Margaret sewed in. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam. He watches tugboats down canals. He calls out to them when he thinks he knows the captain. Till Margaret comes to take him home again, through unforgiving streets that trip him though she holds his arm. Sometimes he thinks that he's alone and calls her name. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. Windmills whirl the winter winds, she winds his muffler tighter. They sit in the kitchen. Some tea with whiskey keeps away the dew. He sees her for a moment, calls her name, she makes the bed up, humming some old love song. She learned it when the tune was very new. Hums a line or two, they hum together in the night. The Dutchman falls asleep, and Margaret blows the candle out. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. Of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. That's good. That's good.
What a great song. Dick Risk, a fourth-year camper, although not consecutive. His first camp was in 2011, and after 3 years, he figured he could check fantasy camp off of his bucket list. He came 3 years, and he said, okay, well, I did it 3 times. It's great. So he came back as an observer, but last year, he produced a Kingston Trio benefit concert, a tribute to Woody Guthrie at his alma mater, the Will Rogers High School in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And working with the trio and Josh Reynolds and for that event just reminded him of how great fantasy camp was. So he signed up, and here he is again for the 4th time in 5 years or 6 years. I can't do math. I was a history major. Dick was a huge fan of the original Kingston Trio in high school and college. He saw them perform at Oklahoma State University in 1959 and again in Tulsa. Doesn't say what year, but again in Tulsa. He was inspired to take up guitar while he was in college, where he was mostly a strummer. And he played borrowed guitars because he was a poor student and couldn't afford his own. Dick, all you had to do is get A's and B's. Anyway, so that Condition soon remedied when he was sent to Okinawa in 1963 right out of college as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force. First thing he did with his meager salary, second lieutenant, I bet you were still making more than an airman, bought a Yamaha guitar at the Base Exchange for $13, which I think is about what I paid for mine in 1964, my first guitar. And he still has it. I don't still have mine. It got smashed. And a couple of years later, he bought a 5-string Ode banjo with the Pete Seeger extended neck. And he hadn't touched either instrument in about 45 years until he got them out of the case and sold them for big bucks. Until getting ready for his first fantasy camp. And now he wised up, and now he owns a Martin HD-28. It was a really good guitar, which he bought from the factory, and with Bob Shane's permission, had the Kingston Trio logo inlaid in mother of pearl on the fretboard in mother of pearl. He still can't play the guitar or banjo, but he's got a nice one. It's all in the look, you know. It's all in the look. He has a BA in radio and television from Oklahoma State. Well, we already mentioned that. Oklahoma State University, and has done postgraduate studies at Boston University. Go Terriers. The University of Tulsa, the University of Oak. It is the Boston Terriers. That's what they're called. And received a Juris Doctorate. Does that mean you're a jury doctor? From the University of Tulsa College of Law. In 2001, at the age of 60, this guy became a lawyer. After leaving the Air Force in going back, after leaving the Air Force in 1977, after the Vietnam era, Dick, we knew that. It's okay. He was an executive with 2 energy companies. And then he got an appointment to head the Southwestern Power Administration of the U.S. Department of Energy. So, remember when your lights used to go out all the time? He was just messing with you. Dick has sung professionally in the chorus for 29 productions by the Tulsa Opera. Dick, you know Steve Rich. He's an opera singer too in Jacksonville. You guys should compare notes. For 26 years, he was a performer, author, and trustee of the Tulsa Press Club Gridiron annual political roast, where most of the state's senior politicians came to be seen and roasted. Oh, bet that was fun. He's also had a few roles in musical theater, like tonight. He and his wife, Carol, have a daughter, a son, and 2 grandchildren. They live in a waterfront home on a small island, which they own, in the St. Petersburg, Florida area. It doesn't really say which they own. They own the house, not the island, off the Gulf of Mexico. He's a division chief on the national staff of the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's a patron of the St. Petersburg Opera Company, and he's on the board of directors of the Boca Ciega Yacht Club. And here to sing Early Morning Rain, great Gordon Lightfoot song, Dick Risk.
I didn't hear what he said, but I didn't hear all of what he said, but I died in November, but I'm okay now. True. This is a Gordon Lightfoot song, if I can remember it.
Early morning rain, with $1 in my hand, with an aching in my heart, and my pockets full of sand. I'm a long way from home, and I miss my darling so. In the early morning rain, with no place to go, out on runway number 9,
707 set to go. But I'm stuck here on the ground where the cold winds blow. Well, the liquor tasted fine and the women all were fast. There she goes, my friend. She's a-rolling home at last. Hear the mighty engine roar. Hear the wind on high. She's winging westward bound. High above the clouds she'll fly, where the morning rain don't fall and the sun always shines. She'll be flying over my home in about 3 hours' time. This old airport's got me down. Ain't no good to me, 'cause I'm stuck here on the ground, cold and drunk as I can be. You can't jump a jet plane like you can a freight train, so I best be on my way in the early morning rain. You can't jump a jet plane like you can a freight train, so I best be on my way in the early morning rain. So I best be on my way in the early morning rain.
Our next camper, Dee Allred. Dee is a 8-time camper, and he's a physician in Salt Lake City. He is in active practice in plastic and reconstructive surgery. And I'm sure there's a lot of customers in the audience that may need this. Oh, I take that back, I'm sorry. I'm just looking for some work for him because he's semi-retired now. Dee is also president of the Utah Medical Association. He's been hooked on the trio, and he heard, when he first heard none other than Tom Dooley in the summer of 1958, and I think a lot of us could echo that comment. And he first saw the trio in the summer of 1960 at Lagoon Amusement Park in Framingham, Utah. Next year, when Dave God left the group, he was worried it would not be the same. And his fears were alleviated when he saw the trio the next summer, also at the same park. And he saw the new guy. And as a lot of us remember, when we did that too, we saw John Stewart. He was the new guy. He still remembers John accusing Nick of being late that day because he was back in the dressing room riding the Wild Mouse, which in reality was the name of the new roller coaster in the park. Dee and his wife, Galen, are the proud grandparents of 13 grandchildren. And they keep a houseboat on Lake Powell, which is on the Utah-Arizona border. And the Kingston Trio has reigned supreme on this little vehicle that they run up and down the lake. The music is played on the houseboat, which is called the Blue Lagoon, and Soloists, which is their powerboat. These 4 sons know most of the trio songs, especially the Tattooed Lady, which I understand has been sung hundreds of times on these boats. And also, Dee has recordings of the trio in the operating room at the hospital where he works. He does some rather long cases, and the operating room is now known as the trio room. I wish we could all go there when we have to have surgery. Dee recorded his first record, he says, at age 3, Gene Autry's song, Little Dusty. And he sold 1 copy to his mom. And his mom gave it to his dad for a Christmas present. And his dad gave it right back to Dee for his next birthday. So flash forward a few more years to 1958 when he hears Tom Dooley, and he's now hooked forever on the Kingston Trio. And he finally gets, the following Christmas, his first guitar, a Silvertone, which many campers must have them because everybody apparently has a Silvertone. I think I had one too, but I broke it early on. And he then painted his parents' house in 1963, and his pay was enough to get him a 5-string Vega banjo. He still has the Silvertone, he says, but the banjo's been replaced by a Goya and 4 Martin guitars. He runs into George Grove about 7 years ago in the airport at Salt Lake. And they had a great conversation about the music, and George told him all about the fantasy camp. So we signed up, and about 15 minutes into this, when he first arrived with his wife Gail, and she turned to him and basically said, "Are we coming back?" And we are coming back again next year. Dee swears it has nothing to do with the shopping here in Scottsdale. And some of us can attest to that with our wives. Would you please welcome Dee Allred?
Thank you. Thank you, Art, for that not-so-kind introduction. What a great opportunity to be here and to follow. It's very difficult to follow the talent that I have. Even more difficult to open for Bob Shane, who I owe a great deal to, especially in the form of guitar acquisition syndrome, GAS. Because I should have updated my bio. We've added a few more Martins to then, and actually one Taylor. But this has been arguably one of the greater experiences of my life. Last week and a half ago, we celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary, and my wife, Galen, remarked, says, "It really doesn't seem like 50, it seems more like 100. So, but anyway.
First 50 years.
Shady road downhill. So, but I'm so appreciative of the people associated with this camp, the campers and the staff in the Kingston Trio and Bob and Bobby for, I just consider these as my very good and close friends, and appreciate the embracing that we've had here for the past 8 years, especially for my good partner Bob Blackstad, who we heard tonight. So.
Winter weigh heavy on my mind. I walk down to the river to ease my worried mind, and I see the reflection of the moon on every ice floe in the bay. And I know that you'll soon be on your stands tall beneath the sky. The letter that you wrote me, I've read 1,000 times. I can see the reflection of the blue clear eyes flow in the bay. And I know that you'll soon be on your way. Come back home to the one who loved you so. Come back home to the one who missed you so. Seems like you were gone forever, but for you I'll wait forever and a day. And I know that you'll soon be on your way. First rays of sunshine come melt the night away. On the day you return, I will walk down to the bay, and I'll wait by the water till that ship comes in that took you far away. Oh, mother dear, I miss you more each day. And my brother and my father, I know they miss you too. The waiting would be easier if only we could know. Did you reach your destination? Far distant, wherever it may lay. And I know that you'll soon be on your way. Come back home to the ones who loved you so. Come back home to the ones who loved you so. Seems like you were gone forever, but for you I'll wait forever and a day. And I know that you'll soon be on your way. Seems like you were gone forever, but for you I'll wait forever and a day. And I know that you'll soon be on your way. Thank you.
Great job, Dee. Great job. This next person needs no further introduction.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, Bob just came right up. I didn't even get a chance to introduce him. I'm going to tell a little story, Bob. Can I tell a story?
Sure.
Okay. Here we go. You think that was a little takeoff on my dad when he had his limp, when he would get up on stage, he'd have to limp to get up on stage. It's actually my little ploy to get a pre-board on Southwest Airlines. You know, Paul Rybut was talking about that last night that John and Nick were together, and it brought back a memory, and I'd like to share it with you. About 8 months before John passed away, my dad had a hip replacement, and he went to Scripps Clinic in San Diego to have his third hip put in. So, of course, I was very nervous. I flew down there and was with Leslie and went to Scripps, and he put his gown and his hat on, so I started taking pictures of him.
And at that time, I was just starting to learn how to blog, so I sat down in the waiting room, and while he was going through the surgery, while we were waiting, I was posting some pictures and blogging, and I sent out a couple of emails, and I put the address and the phone number of his hotel room. Exactly. Well, the flowers started arriving, the phone calls started coming, the people started showing up. I think Mikey Burns might have been one of them. And my dad, he was kind of a private person. So the surgery went well, and he went home, and he had a little trouble with the recovery. And one day I was just landed in Portland, Oregon. I got off a flight from work, and I got a message from my brother that said that John Stewart's had a stroke, and he's in the hospital in San Diego. So I immediately called Michael Stewart up and said, I'm going to be there first thing in the morning. Jumped on a plane first thing in the morning, and when I landed, our Johnny was gone. I hadn't told my dad or Leslie that I was coming. It all happened so fast. I got in my rental car. I went over to my dad's house because I just knew, and as Paul said, they were brothers. I just knew this was going to be hard on my dad. So I pull up, and there's EMTs right in front of his house with the lights flashing, and I'm like, what now? What's going on here? Like, is there anything else that could happen? So the EMTs are taking my dad on a gurney down the steps of his house. He's lying flat on the gurney. His hip had popped out. He had a hard time keeping it in. So, actually, this is kind of funny. So he's going down the thing. He sees me. He didn't know I was going to be coming. And he comes, these huge guys are going to put him in the ambulance to take him to the hospital. And all he says to me, he looks up at me and he says, no blogging. You can't make that kind of stuff up. You just can't. And I didn't do any blogging. But what I'd heard after that was, and to kind of elaborate on Paul's story, was that before Johnny left and said, please take care of my budgie, they had spent that evening in Leslie's house sitting around listening to Kingston Trio albums and crying and holding hands. And that was the last time that they were together, listening to that music. Now, Bob's standing over here thinking I'm going to start weeping. Because he calls me the weeper. It's true. But without further ado, Mr. Bob Shane.
This is from a bygone era, the era before political correctness, when guys could get drunk in bars and sing about anything they wanted to.
Okay.
So don't hold it against us personally. Ready?
Oh, Carol, you're the bottom of the barrel. You're the rotten apple of my eye. Every time I see you, I hold my nose and go pee you. Nobody wants to be you, but that's understandable. Your breath is unforgettable. Carol, you're the bottom of the barrel. You're the rotten apple of my eye. And your complexion could use some correction, but that's not the section that bothers me. It's in the summer when, Carol, you're a bummer. I'm beginning to wonder if your arms could stand some ventilation. Somebody pass the candleration. Carol, you're the bottom of the barrel. You're the rotten apple of my eye. Everybody! Oh, Carol, you're the bottom of the barrel. You're the rotten apple of my eye.
Well, where's George? George. Where is George? There you are, George.
I am standing up.
Yes. Yeah, you're from North Carolina, aren't you?
Proudly so.
Yeah. Is it still true in North Carolina if you get a divorce, are you still brother and sister?
Well, I think so.
What do you think I am?
Could at least use the same bathroom. Yeah.
Okay. Here's an interesting song. Scotch and soda, like in your eye. Baby, do I feel high oh me? Oh my. Do I feel high? Dry martini, jigger and gin. Oh, what a spell you got me in. Oh my. Do I feel high? People won't believe me. They'll think that I'm just bragging. I could feel the way I do. Still beyond the wagon. All I need is one of your smiles, the sunshine of your eyes of me. Oh my, do I feel higher than a kite can fly? Give me loving, baby, I feel high. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you later.